In this episode of the Sean Geek Podcast, myself, Seanorama, and the inestimable, is that the right word? Todd FastFretFingers, my brother. He came up with a topic for discussion that ended up being recorded over 2 sessions. So halfway through the recording, you're actually going to get to hear my kids screaming, and I think the dog crying as I arrive home, and they're all excited that I'm home and fighting and everything else. But I'm keeping that in because it's entertaining. Todd came up with the topic. I have no idea why, but it's truly and utterly fascinating. We talk about AI, we talk about algorithms, and we talk about AI replacing people in the workplace. So automation, those sorts of things, and in Todd's own unique way, he sure makes it entertaining. Enjoy this episode. Hello there.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing excellent.
Good.
Excellent.
I saw you were doing that. Is it Habitat for Humanity?
I was yesterday.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. So with the hard hat there, I was like, "Ooh, Dad'd be proud."
He would be like, "This lazy kid, he's now doing Habitat for Humanity? What the hell is going on?"
That was pretty cool. I was going to comment on it, and then I was going to do that today, and then I get busy, and I wasn't able to do it. So, yeah, that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. This is the first time our work's doing anything like that. They do a lot of charity work, but they've never done something. They usually do stuff less publicly.
Right.
So this one seems to be a bit more. Well, I don't know. It's cool. They're doing. I don't think anybody said they couldn't go. So that's a pretty good turnout.
Right.
So there was 5 of us on Tuesday, and then I don't know how many there were today, 4 or 5 today, and then I think it's like 3 weeks worth twice a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And
cool.
I'm gonna go again for sure. You know, whether it's through work or not, but I'm gonna go again. Like it was just awesome.
Cool.
I spoke to the VP for Habitat while I was there, and we had a good chat. Her name was Michelle. She was pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. So I learned a lot about how it works because I had no idea before.
Wow.
So it was good. It was cool.
Good.
Yeah. A little tired, a little sore.
Yeah.
But well worth it.
Muscles that you haven't worked in a while?
No, well, I worked out, I think, like the night before.
Oh, okay. I know anytime I do anything, it's like, oh my God. We had that big wind a while back, and it blew that tree down beside the garage.
Yeah.
And just to take the hatchet and chop it up, it's like, oh my God, it blisters my hand.
You're like, oh, this is an easy job. And then you're doing it, and it's like, what the hell?
It was an easy job 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my chainsaw, the chain needs to be sharpened, so I couldn't use that.
Oh, it's too bad.
Oh well.
Hey, I got a couple things before we get into our topic.
Okay.
I met for lunch with Scott Sullivan.
With who?
Scott Sullivan for lunch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had a really great chat with him. Kind of caught up. Talked a lot about music, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I have to remember, I actually made a mix based on music he introduced me to, or got me turned on by, which I called the Sullivan Swing. That was the name of the mix.
Oh.
I made this like 20 years ago or whatever it was, so I got to dig it up and give him a copy.
Wow.
And then, yes, last night, Abby's been asking me to sing my special lullaby song, like for bed. And it's the one I sing to Eleanor every night.
Oh.
And it's actually Breakdown by Dome. That's what I sing. But I've lullabied it.
I was going to say, you don't sing it in the same manner, do you?
No. Actually, I'm going to have to sing it to you so you can hear how it goes. Actually, I want to re-record it done in that style.
Right.
Because it's actually really nice.
Like the music version.
Well, no, it's not the music version. It's actually like, I guess, the folk version, I guess.
Oh,
Probably
okay.
just an acoustic guitar and the vocal. We would be good, maybe bass, potentially.
Right.
But anyway, I've been singing it to Ellie, and then Abby. Okay, so the way the story goes, Ellie was bored of the songs I was singing to her, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I've got the Good Night song, which Sylvia and I co-authored. It's a Good Night song. And then, just a few like regular kid lullabies. And Ellie's like, different song. So I'm like, I don't know. So one of the alternate songs that I do is I'll sing the song Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead, which has lullaby-ish qualities to it.
Right.
So they like that one. And then I also sing World Without Heroes by Kiss, which is their big ballad, one of their big ballads. But I was like, oh, what else? So I hit the regular, all the go-tos. And I'm like, maybe I'll sing a Dome song. And I'm like, I finally settled on Breakdown, which is probably our least popular song.
Right.
Or at least the least popular within the band.
Right.
And I sang it, and Ellie liked it. So the next night, she said, sing song. So I'm like, okay, well, we go through the old standards, and no, other one, no, other one. So then I'm like, I sing Breakdown. She goes, yeah, like that's what she wanted. She fell right asleep. So Abby heard me singing the song, and she did like pretty much kind of ran through the whole thing. Like, Daddy, can you sing the special song? And I'm like, well, what's the special song? Like the Good Night song? No, the special song. So I'm like, well, which one? And I go through a bunch. No, not that one. No, not that one. So I sang Breakdown to Abby, and then she had a big smile on her face. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I got to talk to Todd about maybe we could redo this thing. So anyway, so last night, she said, sing a special song. I said, this one? And I sang, she said, yeah, that one, please. So I sang it, and then she sang with me on the choruses. She actually sang with me.
Really?
Oh my God, Todd. You can't imagine what the feeling that went through me.
I imagine.
Oh.
You're like, whoa, super connection.
Yeah, that was really special. Yeah, that, you know what? There's not going to be much that's going to top that.
I bet.
So, I don't know. I might alter the words a little bit. Not that they're offensive or anything like that, but they're not lullaby.
So what type of BPM are you thinking?
Oh, it's the same. Actually, it's the same beat. It's actually the same beat, but I'm singing one octave higher.
Right.
And the chorus, I changed the chorus a little bit. There's instead of just break down, I'm actually going break down, something like that, more or less like that. So, but in a higher octave, which I'm not going to do now. But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, do you want to record that one?
Sure.
It's probably be easy to do. I'll sing you how it goes. And then you can kind of go up with the guitar, and then we can maybe just record it or something. Pop it on the podcast or something.
Yeah. So it's not. So what changes would you have musically besides the singing?
It would be the same, except it'd be a bit more strumming.
Right. So, but you're going to use like the same drum beat, like the same.
Yeah, like it would be the same, but there's no drums. But it would have the same. I'm literally singing. The vocal is in the same beat. Da, 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 da. Except it's less staccato the way I'm singing it, but it has the same count. Completely the same count. It's just softer.
Right.
Anyway, I will sing it, and then you'll see how it goes. But anyway, you brought a topic to the table today that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I sent you a link to the write-up on it. I don't think that was I was trying to look for the actual link. I don't think I found it, but I think that was kind of close. But basically, with this new word that, I don't know if this isn't a new word, but algorithm seems to come out more now.
Yes.
Especially with the Facebook and whatnot, the way that they kind of do their advertising. They kind of, they see who's interested in what, and then they just kind of put their advertisements according to whatever the algorithm is that they have.
Yes.
But then I was reading an article, and and you read about the articles with those self-driving cars.
Yep.
And stuff, and it was Tesla. There's a couple. I don't know if there's another brand or whatnot. But I mean, it was talking at the very beginning of the article. It was basically saying how this works. Okay, so say that the vehicle is heading. Did we talk about this at all?
No, we haven't actually. I don't know why we haven't. This is a good topic.
And what had happened was the car has all these sensors everywhere, and it's basically it does whatever the program that was put into it. It reacts accordingly. But the only thing is it doesn't have every scenario possible.
No, it can't.
So what happened was, I think it was driving on the highway, and I think there was a deer or something that was kind of walking into traffic. So now all of a sudden the sensors are doing its calculations, going, okay, well, the distance between here and there, foreign object, you don't know if it's a vehicle or an object that's staying still, but then it kept moving, and then it was just kind of doing this feedback back and forth inside the computer brain, right?
Yep.
And then what had happened at the end, it went, okay, you know what? We're going into manual mode.
Oh.
But the thing is the driver wasn't ready because they weren't paying attention to the road because the car was driving by itself. So then what happened was, it basically hit the deer, and I think the accident, I can't remember if it was fatal or not, but basically the brain of it can only do so much. It can't think, it can't rationalize in the same way a human brain can. It's only rationalizing for the information that you're putting into it. So the algorithm that you've set in there is how this thing is going to respond. So, I mean, it can't think for itself. So it's only doing with the information it's got, and then I guess the default at some point says, okay, you know what? We don't know what it is. We're going to, transfer things over manually. But unless you have lights and horns and that going off in the car that says, you know what, we're transferring this over. Unless you have that, the driver's not aware, and then something will happen.
But then your reaction time to when that happens, how instantaneous is it going to be? Are you going to have your feet parked on, like, your feet near the brake, or are you going to do like when you have cruise control in the car, where your feet aren't even close to your gas pedal?
Well, or you're sitting in the back,
you're sitting in the back, yeah.
Yeah, or you're reading a newspaper in the front. I mean,
the wife and I are doing a quickie in the back car. It's all up to you to keep us safe.
Yeah, that would be front page news for sure. Yeah, how did they die? Oh, well, they were in the back seat.
Yeah,
they weren't really paying attention to the road. But then it starts to get into, and then I was reading, was it Ed? They do those stand-up things where they talk about, the world and how things are progressing and whatnot. But they were talking about the way that AI works and these algorithms. And right now, it's not to the point where it would think for itself. And they said it may not be in our lifetime, but the way technology goes, I wouldn't count that out right away.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, just the way, and I mean, they use it for different things. I mean, they use it for stock market. I mean, you just plunk an algorithm down saying, okay, well, you look at the investments in the last however many years. I mean, people do it by saying, okay, well, this is the trend, let's go with that. So now they have all these algorithms that do that for them also. So I mean, you're trading, you don't even have to do that anymore. So I mean, who's reaping the benefits and who's not. Like, obviously, there's going to be people that have a leg up on everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
And the military's using it apparently they're using it extensively for their own applications, because, anytime there's technology involved, the military is going to be there and they're going to see how they can use it.
Yeah, us
in the
first,
format
us
that
first.
they need it. Yeah. And I mean, that'll help with the safety of the soldiers if they can go in a different route and do whatever they're doing. But and then there's the medical portion where, I mean, with the drug trials and whatnot, and, you have all this information dumped into this either computer or however format that they have it, where they can actually, I think they actually did studies, I think it was for Alzheimer's patients, and they had all this information that they plugged in, and the thing is, it would come up with the information to say that, someone's more prone than others, and then they would do the research in that direction and say, yeah, you know what, that is true, but they're not too sure how this algorithm, or however it's set up, came to the conclusion. But I mean, it's developing, constant. I like, and it's like to the point where, where machine is like, okay, well, this machine's going to take over this person's job or take over that person's job.
That's always the fear, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's continual. That's never stopped. I mean, there's always people losing jobs because of, especially if you're doing work in a factory where it's the same thing repetitive all the time. Why would you need a human? You just do it's like packaging in a cookie company or bottling, like, it's all automated. So as soon as you figure out what it is you need, you just, build the machine that you need to do the job.
Especially if it's repetitive enough.
Right. You don't have to pay benefits, you don't have to pay salaries, the whole thing. Everybody wants to make more money. The company makes more money. All the shareholders make more money because that's all they're there for. They want to see profits, right?
Yep.
Who cares about safety or, depending on what it is.
Well, I was
half the time.
There's like science fiction stories that revolve around that, where the robots take over the jobs and develop their own sentience. So there's enough algorithm in it that they actually learn, and the minute that they learn, their brain, whatever you want to call their brain, functions more like a human, and then they start making demands. Well, you're not paying me for this work. I'm a machine. You've given me enough AI that I can learn so I can be better at my job, but now you don't want to pay me, but you've given me life. So you put me together in order to take a job away from somebody so we don't have to pay them. But then if you're going to push the technology to the point that you're giving me life, then now you have to pay me. So,
well,
that's far-fetched science fiction, but
that would be totally super advanced to where they would, you could.
Okay, speaking of what we're talking about right now, I'm right behind a Tesla right now.
Are you?
Yep.
Does it have that great big radar thing on the top?
On the top where? What should I be looking for?
On the top of the car? Oh, I don't know. I've seen them where they have that big, it looks like a radar thing that just turns and turns and turns and turns.
Oh, okay. No, this one's just...
or that's old school, maybe.
This is a Model S Tesla. Someone's got a fancy license plate, which I won't repeat because then I'm calling somebody out. Have you seen a Tesla up close?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've only seen them in accidents. The pictures, yeah.
But anyway, go on. I don't want to ruin the train of thought here.
Yeah, no. I was saying, be careful of the radio interference. It might interfere with the onboard computer.
Don't turn on your radio.
Yeah, like when you're in the airplanes, they're like, turn off your things, and in the hospital they didn't want you to have cell phones. Nowadays, I don't think I've seen a sign anywhere saying no cell phones in the hospital. I mean, everyone has one. I mean, you're not gonna stop that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this. I saw the article and I figured, yeah, this is technology. Like back in the days of Star Trek, I mean, you had, the flip thing up and beam me up story. So I mean, the cell phone. There's a lot of things in science fiction that have actually people have developed and actually work now.
Yeah.
And a cell phone would be one of them.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically the Star Trek phone.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's the flip phone back then.
Yeah.
Which is still old technology now, compared to the smartphones. But yeah, it's I don't know how. I mean, they've talked about. I think years ago they talked about having like a chip, like say inside your arm or some stupid thing where you could just scan. You wouldn't even need your card, your bank card anymore. But I think at that point, I think there was someone who wrote, what is it, The End of the World? What was it called? The Rapture?
Oh, the Rapture, yeah.
Yeah, and talking about, people basically with the technology, implemented in themselves, that's kind of like the end of, I don't know if they call it the end of time or something.
Yeah,
there was something I read about it. I guess I should have paid attention more. But when they talk about the rapture and everything else, it's like at the end of the world. And then it's like, oh, sorry, we meant this date.
Yeah. Do you remember
then,
there was that big one several years ago?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually,
I know
it was KeyCon weekend, actually, several years ago.
I actually know some people who are really deep into that.
What? Really?
Oh yeah, their clothes would they would disappear, and you just have a pile of clothes. So they would be taken by Rapture, and anybody left behind.
Really believed in it, really?
Oh yes, oh yeah. I didn't really get into it lately to find out what their thoughts are on it, but it was like this date, and then they switched the date to a different date. We didn't take account of this and whatnot, so we put it to a different date. So I don't know, is that guy still around, or?
Well, I don't know if it's the same guy every time that's come up with a date. I don't know if it's a guy that come up with a date, or the whatever church that was that came up. I'm not actually familiar with. Okay, how do they get the number?
Right.
And then is that the number that particular church, or is it like that particular religion comes up with? That's what I was never clear on. Is it like a dude that says, on this day in 2020, blah, 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 and he's actually a priest, but he's not really part of a faith or denomination? Is it a sect of the Catholic Church that's saying it, or Pentecostal, or whatever it may be? Or is it just like some guy who's religious and that's what he believes? Do you know?
I don't know. I just call them Kool-Aid religion. So they're all kind of in the same. But I mean, it's a cult. However you look at it, whatever religion it is, it's a cult. What do you want to call it? Catholic, Baptist, Anglican, whatever. But these guys believe that the end of time will come and the rapture. And they'll go as far as, get rid of all the possessions, because obviously they don't need them, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes around to where it doesn't happen, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah. Where's my refund?
My refund, yeah. Back in the 70s, I've seen pictures where, the end is near and they got the picket signs and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were a religion or if they were just a belief, or if that was kind of a thing at the time. The information came from some person. It came from a person that told another person that created, this. It's not like it just kind of out of thin air just came about, but there's also, I'm sure it says it in a book, whether it's the actual Bible, First Testament, Second, Third, Mormon, pick a book. I don't know, whoever's book is that they had that written in is what they believe.
Yeah, and I think some of those ones that start that, they say that, give your donations to the church now, and it'll help, guarantee your spot in heaven. I know some of them were doing that back in the day.
Right.
So then you're like, well, you're not going to need your possessions anyway, but if you give to the church can do a bunch of stuff to help you get into heaven. And then the church makes off like a bandit.
I think That's Scientology, isn't it?
No. Oh, Scientology believes in a whole. Oh, we got to have a talk about Scientology soon, but not in this podcast. That's a whole thing on its own.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing a lot of reading on Scientology lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got lots of stuff to say, but let's save that for a different episode.
Okay. So back to algorithms.
Yes, back to algorithms.
Now that we've kind of gone full circle, what's your take on it?
Well, I actually had a very interesting chat today about algorithms. I actually did a job interview, or I didn't go on one, I gave one. And I don't know why, but somehow this guy worked at Skip the Dishes.
Say again, sorry?
He works at Skip the Dishes currently.
He worked at
Skip the Dishes.
Skip the Dishes,
Yeah,
sorry.
Skip the Dishes, yeah. So they so their entire business model, why they exist and why they do what they do is all based on algorithms. 100% based on algorithms. Right. So they use, if driver A is near restaurant A and close to customer A, then the algorithm will actually select the driver that makes the most sense to do that delivery.
Right.
There's an algorithm that decides. Right. And if there's no drivers close, the algorithm further goes, well, who is the closest? It also programs in how long it takes a particular restaurant to get the food ready. This may be a restaurant that takes an hour to get the food ready. It may be a restaurant that takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. It takes all that data in, and it dispatches to the truck, or to the truck, to the courier. So I did do driving for them before, and they actually have actual human dispatchers there, and they're there to troubleshoot when the algorithm doesn't work. But that really just goes to show that, as great as the algorithm is, and as smart as they worked out the algorithm, there were times when I was working for them that I literally could sit for 2 hours waiting for a call that hasn't come, that I won't be given a delivery to make. That's why
depending on what area of the city you're in.
Well, yeah, but they tell you not to move. Like, stay where you are. At the time, anyway, they say stay where you are. And because what if a call comes up in the end of town you're in? But the majority, percentage-wise, the largest amount of calls you're getting come from downtown. It's the largest, population of restaurants, correct?
See, this is where you have your own algorithm. Okay, the highest thing is this part of the city. This is where I'm going to sit.
Yeah.
Everyone else can go wherever they want.
That's exactly it. So they say we need you to stay there because if a call comes up there, if all our drivers, after they're done a call and they don't have another call lined up, if the first thing they do is head downtown, then what happens if there's a call that comes up in the west end of the city? Like, our downtown is central to the city, for example. So if you are delivering to the west side of the city, which is called St. James, and you do a pickup downtown, and then you're delivered to St. James, which is in the west, and you get there and you make your delivery. There are quite a number of restaurants in St. James, but proportionately a lot less than in downtown. Right. And people tend to order from downtown more often, not just because there's a lot of restaurants and there's a lot of trendy restaurants, but because nobody would ever want to go downtown and pick up their own food. Right. It's hard to park, it's inconvenient, you got to deal with rush hour. I'd rather have someone else do it. So not only is the density much larger, but the density is much smaller for people that would actually go pick up their own food downtown. So it doesn't matter if you have a large amount of restaurants in St. James or Transcona, for that, which is in the far east side of the city. Those are the restaurants that people are more than likely going to go to and sit down and eat or go pick up. It's a larger percentage than a downtown restaurant. Right. If that makes sense. So they'd say, well, stay where you are. Stay where you are. Because we need someone in this end of town in case a call comes up. Right. So I remember I sat for 2.5 hours one day waiting for a call, and I'm like, screw this. So I kept saying, like, give me something. But the algorithm wouldn't let them give it to me.
Yeah.
So
See,
that's where the human has to go in and go, look, I've got more calls than I can handle downtown.
Right.
But they keep giving it to the same drivers that, are downtown. So they might be picking up downtown, and then they're delivering downtown, and then they're picking up downtown, and you're ping-ponging, and it's perfect.
Or they're picking up downtown, they're going to where you are. Now you got two guys out there waiting.
Yeah. So then,
they don't take into
if
account
I'm
of the
closer
people.
than that guy, I'm going to get called in ahead of that guy, but the other guy then might sit for another 2.5 hours after me for the next call to come. So, but here's the thing. Here's where the algorithm breaks is, okay, well, I can wait here, or I can go downtown and I can ping pong with anyone else's downtown, but I'm screwing the customer over that's in the west side of the city or the east side of the city, or, depending on what side you're on, the deader parts of the city. So, that you can break the algorithm by basically when the human gets involved, then it breaks the algorithm, if that makes sense.
Well, see, they don't take into account that the percentage of calls that you get should be included in there to say you're not, you're maybe not the closest person to the next call, but you haven't gotten anything in so much time. You should have a call at least every 15 minutes, half hour, 20, whatever it is.
Yes.
To say that there's no calls out your end. The closest one is, you're not particularly right in the city, maybe just a little bit outside of it, and then you could grab that. I mean, that they could implement that in the algorithm, but that you're getting a little more complicated in how it's gonna run. But then again, it depends on the person doing the actual programming.
Here, guess what? I'm home. I want to talk about this a bit more. Let's cover this. Let's part 2 this.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. So
okay.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah,
all right. Okay. Bye.
So we left off yesterday.
Okay.
With we were talking about the algorithms in at Skip the Dishes.
Okay. Sorry, you held for about 5 seconds there. So what did you say before Skip the Dishes?
I said we were talking about algorithms.
Right.
For Skip the Dishes and how every time there's a human factor involved, it fucks up their algorithm.
Yeah, because it'll only do what you put into it, but there's always other things. It's like updates. You find a bug or you find something you need to update on it, and then you find a way to improve it, I guess.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, didn't they sold Skip the Dishes to some company in the States or something for millions of dollars, or what was it? How'd that go?
Yeah, actually, that's very true. They built the business up. Wow, I guess we're going to talk about Skip the Dishes now. I love how this podcast is going, just train of thought. But it's awesome.
Or are we off the topic?
Well, I don't know. But yeah, they were started by two guys in Saskatoon or Regina, somewhere in Saskatchewan.
Right.
And I think their whole thing was they came up with they had an idea.
Right.
And then they came up with an algorithm. And that's the whole cell was based on.
Right.
Like that was how they were going to do it. Like, we have an algorithm. And that's how they came up with the business idea. So they built it up, nothing, to become the leader. And then, they sold it to somebody.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Oh. So what we were saying yesterday was that the algorithms, like the idea of the algorithm makes total sense and it's a great idea. Because it's totally a great idea. Like, come up with an algorithm that can predict the patterns of the way things are. That way you don't have to human dispatch as much. Like it's a solid idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're getting rid of someone's wages and someone's benefits and someone's retirement, and that's what they're looking for.
I like how you took that spin. Because really, at the end of the day, the automation process, which you touched on yesterday again, is like, this is better. This is better. this is better. But is this better? Who is this better for?
Exactly.
So I think that this is your angle here is you're always cutting out the human, and you're putting that person out of work.
Pretty much. That's pretty much business.
Yeah.
Or what they say, what they call it? It's the price of doing business.
Yeah.
You've just lost your job.
Yeah.
Okay. Businesses aren't really in the business of, well, I mean, it depends on what it is, but they're not really in the business of humans. They're more in the business of making money. Whether if there's a human there that needs to be there, then they'll do it. If they don't need a human there, you're damn right they're going to be, they're going to get rid of that person so they don't have to, pay all that money out.
That's okay. That's an interesting. Like I took business in university. So here's the disparity. Like that is like the way you're stating it is. Wow, that guy's got to change his muffler. Holy shit!
I just heard a rumble, but I didn't really make it out.
It's either a really shitty muffler or it's a Harley, one or the other. And I won't get started on that thing, but I think the idea of it. I think the idea of business, the whole idea of business in the first place, of companies making something and employing people. Like when someone works for a company or for a factory or for whatever, and they make a wage, you can pretty much guarantee they're going to spend that wage back into the economy. They're going to buy a car, they're going to buy a house, they're going to buy their electronics, they're going to buy this, and they actually help the economy. So by giving someone a job, you're further allowing your business to continue by employing that person. So the businesses actually win by employing people.
Okay.
Now, when they say, "Oh, we're going to automate this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this better, and we're going to cut jobs," that actually doesn't improve the economy. It hurts the economy, actually. It doesn't help the company. It hurts the company, actually. And I'm going to explain why, because I went to school, damn it.
Okay.
So, now I spent a lot of time learning lean manufacturing. Okay. So I'm going to spout some of that stuff. But
figures?
No, I'm going to spout what true lean manufacturing is and why most people get it wrong and why most businesses get it wrong, and the truly successful businesses are the ones that actually employ it correctly. So the idea is, if you can automate a process to make the process faster, the proper business model is you can free up, if you can automate a process like on an assembly line, like in a bottling plant, and you can, you in the old days, you had like 30 people that were putting labels on the can or on the bottle. But if you can come up with a way for a machine to do that work for you, the proper business model says, okay, now you freed up that labor to do something else. That's the proper business model. So when you find a way to automate it, it frees up your resources to do something else, i.e. your people, not to lay them off. That actually goes against the whole principle of lean manufacturing. In lean manufacturing, the concept is that if Joe, who works a miter saw, he works his butt off till the end of the day, and at the end of the day, he still has work left, but then he has to go home, and then they've fallen behind on what the miter saw is doing. But if you can find a way to make him efficient by automating some of his processes, and he can complete his entire log of work for the day, not fall behind, but get it all done, and have 10 to 20% of his day open where he finishes early, that's after taking breaks and lunch and all that, and you freed up 20% of his working day, then he is more amenable to provide the company with ideas for bettering other processes. So what you're doing is you're de-stressing the person working on the assembly line, or on the miter saw in this case. He's got 15 to 20% of his day open to think and plot and plan stuff. You've actually properly utilized your resource, which is that person. That's the proper model. But who does that? Companies don't do that. They just, I don't know, a lot of them, the ones that get it wrong, just get rid of people.
That is probably the most archaic model I've ever heard in my entire life.
Okay, what part of it? Like what do you say?
Well, say one person, you modify a process, so now you can use that person elsewhere.
Well, no, not elsewhere. You're freeing up that person to, in their role, find ways to improve other things or come up with general ideas. You know what I mean?
Well,
like you give them thinking time.
Well, thinking time. What job gives you thinking time?
None, currently.
It all depends on where you work. I mean, what I see. Well, I mean, I work in the health industry, and it's I don't know if it's different other places, but basically all they do is, I mean, the workload increases because of everyone needs to be more accountable. So years ago, when we had the film in Fridays or whatever they used to call it, what they did is they cut back your work week by so many hours a day to be able to accommodate to save money. And then they trim the fat to the point to where you're just barely making it by. So years go by, and then nothing changes. You don't get extra help. You don't beef up anything. And then they come in and they start chopping again. Now, they've already chopped, don't forget.
Yeah, they've already chopped.
And they never really recuperated from that. So all that they've done is they've rewarded you with more work. So the harder you work, they go, oh, he works hard. He gets his job done. What do we have here that we're lagging behind on? It's not more time for you to think. It's more work for you to do.
That's what actually happens. That's what I'm saying. If they followed the proper business model, which is not what you're saying they do, because that's what you're saying they do is what they actually do. But if they did it right, they'd use the model that I'm describing. But no one. That's what I'm saying. No one ever does that, which is ridiculous. Like, by piling on people, you're not making it better. I guess that's what I'm saying. We're saying kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah. I had for a part-time job at the liquor mart a while back, a year or so ago or whatever, to see if I could find. When I was talking to them, and we kind of agreed that, whether it's, hospitals and alcohol are pretty much recession-proof. People are going to get sick. People are going to go to the hospital.
That's true.
People are going to drink. But I want to change my answer to alcohol industry is recession-proof, because the more stress people are under, what do?
Drink.
Or what's more common to say? Usually people are more stressed. They drink more. They want to de-stress more. Because of all the stress. So I changed my answer to booze. Booze is recession-proof because no matter how things, either they're good, they're partying, they're drinking. They're bad, they're drinking because they're depressed or whatever, or just to forget, or whatever. So
people don't usually drink in the middle.
No, not in the middle.
When I'm happy, actually, when I'm just like content, I don't drink at all. It's when I'm super happy that I drink when I'm sad.
I'm having a beer right now. But I think we've totally obliterated our original topic.
Yeah, it's true. But it does fit with the topic where we're talking about automation. Automation, which is AI, I guess, in a way. Right?
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, you can't have everything running machines and people. I mean, you can't have people like with no purpose lollygagging around. I mean, they won't have money, first of all, to live and to eat and all this other stuff. But I mean, you can only automate to a point. You can automate to help
Yes.
the individual. But I mean, who wants to do that? Are you in business to help the individual? Or are you in business to make your shareholders happy?
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't care about the people.
No.
And the bigger the company, the more faceless, your employees. Because I mean, you get the mom and pop thing. The whole family's working. Everybody's together. I mean, they do the processes and they try to lean it out, but they don't lose their jobs, right?
Yes.
Because it's part of a family thing. But then the bigger it gets, I mean, I don't know such and such's name anymore because now it's so big. It's just a faceless company, just run by people and processes. But
computers are definitely not perfect. I think that's what I think is, okay, you've automated this process, but if you 100% automate anything, it's going to fail, and it's going to fail miserably. You need that human element. I mean, it's the human element that allowed you to make that part in the first place. It wasn't a computer. It wasn't anything. Every idea comes from a human.
I mean, you have to start somewhere. I mean, it's like when they said as soon as you had a computer, we'd be a paperless society. Me personally, I think it just created more.
It did create more, absolutely.
Because, I don't think we're saving any trees anytime soon.
No.
If anything, I mean, you get emails and then people print them out. Like, why do you print them out? Like, you get folders and stuff in your email, put them in your folders. I mean,
I think there's something to the paperless society in that, okay, maybe, because the old communication, someone will give you a note, right? But now you're sending an email. Note? Yeah, they give you Post-it notes or whatever. Or they would, do something on the typewriter and they would drop that on your desk. But now, maybe we've gone paperless, but it didn't improve things because there's so many emails that flow back and forth. You're sending electronic paper more than you ever did in the old days when someone would just go talk to somebody else.
Right.
But now, with the amount of emails going back and forth, you've actually created a whole other thing. So it paperless, yes, but you've actually increased the workload. Because I don't know how many emails you go through in a day.
Well, how easy? See, it's all about how easy things can be for you and I. That's where technology is, and that's where the money is, because that's what people want to buy.
Yes.
If I was going to say, okay, I'm going to write you a letter. You know how much hassle that is to write you a letter versus typing it out in an email and sending it to you?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wait 3-4 days for it. You don't have to pay for a stamp. You don't have to find an envelope. You have to, I don't think people even write anymore. They
you're
type
paying
to the
for
point
the
where
stamp,
they
and
can't
then
even.
you're paying for your service. So you're seeing that in a different way, maybe, right? Instead of paying for stamps, you're paying for your internet bill or your phone bill, or.
Well, I mean, yeah, it all has
that, I guess.
Yeah, it all has an expense. So, I mean, and someone's getting paid, right? You get the internet, you're paying for that. So, I mean, they're like, we're going to make money by creating this process for the people to use. I mean, it's no different that your phone or your tablet. Everything is to make everything easier for you and I, and for and we're the consumer, and we're the ones who buy it. I mean, you want to watch movies on Netflix on your tablet? I mean, you could never do that, 20, 30 years ago. Like, none of this was around.
In the old days, you just have to go to a theater to see a movie. You couldn't even watch it at all.
I mean, and we can't even fathom, like, 30, 40 years down the road, like, the things that advance, like, where we're going to be. It's kind of exciting but scary at the same time, because, I mean, you see the way the world is going, and how the process and things go. I mean, depending on who's steering the ship will depend on, if we survive the iceberg or not.
But I think that goes with the algorithm. Like, so if you're watching your Netflix, or if you're doing any of these things that are kind of automated now, even just the way that your email inbox is sorted, that's based on, not maybe AI or algorithm or whatever you want to call it, because it sorts your stuff out. Like, I don't know if you notice, like, in your inbox, in your email inbox, like, I know in mine, it sorts out all the junk. There's focused, and then there's not focused. Do you have that in your email?
I have it, but I don't really understand how that all works.
Well, it's based on who's in your address book, I think. So it looks at who's in your address book. Well, this is a contact, so this is a focused. I'm getting an email from somebody I know, and if it's unfocused, then you're getting something from Samsung or something from Pizza, or like all those sorts of things go into your unfocused inbox. I think that's how it's sorted.
I don't know. I'm getting emails from family members, and it says, "Here, check this out." And it's got this spam thing, whatnot. So I don't know if they're taking the name from my email address, or if it's sending something from, or if it's something that someone else is infected with that's sending me. It's kind of hard to say. But now, when you're talking about Netflix, that's a perfect example when we're talking about algorithms, because say when you're watching a certain program, it will suggest, if you like this, then maybe you like this other type. So I think it just takes the genre, or the I don't know how they do it, but they obviously have it set up in a way where they figure, you're interested in this, then you may like this program, or you may like this this documentary or something that comes up. And 9 times out of 10, it comes up. It's like, yeah, sure, I could watch that. So, and I've done it where it just comes up automatically, and the next thing on is pretty close to what you're usually watching. So.
Yeah, that's very true. One place where the algorithm totally fails is like for me, it's on my Google Music. So I listen to, say I'm listening to Slaughter, for an example. Yeah, we gotta buy our Slaughter tickets. But anyway, we're listening to Slaughter, for example, and then, I listen to it for a while, and then a suggestion pops up to say, hey, you like Slaughter, you might want to listen to this. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And then I listen to it, and then it keeps playing songs that I fucking hate. And it's like, what? I did.
That sounds like YouTube.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. Sometimes I'll put a song on, and it'll continue, and it'll go and go and go, and it's excellent music. And then all of a sudden it puts something in there that's like, whoa, where did this come from?
Yeah, it's like really bizarre. Like, where? But I think sometimes those fail. Like, I know with Google Play, it's stacked a particular way. It's stacked upon popular music all the time. So, for example, like if I'm listening to anything Canadian, and I've specifically stated that I do not like, The Pursuit of Happiness, like that band. Mm-hmm. I really don't like it. Every time they popped up, I put a thumbs down. Like if they popped up on a playlist that I just grabbed, thumbs down.
Right.
It'll still pop up in another playlist. It's not automatically realizing if I put a thumbs down on a song, it means I really don't like that song. If I'm so-so on the song, I won't give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I put thumbs down on songs that keep reappearing because I'm listening to another playlist, and it's not saying, oh, do you want to listen to this playlist minus the shit you really hate? Like, it never does that. So even though there's an artist that you have a beef with or can't stand or whatever the deal is, you're still going to be forced to listen to that person because there's enough people that like it based upon terrestrial radio and what they listen to. So the automation, that's where I'm saying, again, the AI or the algorithm or whatever they're using fails because a human's not putting that playlist together, or it's not. It doesn't matter how foolproof your algorithm is, it still fails.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't know the human factor. I mean, that's the key piece it's missing. Once you have that, then you'll have a self-aware, like Skynet or whatever,
Skynet,
to be, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's but like when you say it's got the playlist. Okay, and everyone, say you have 50 people. Okay, you pick a song, they pick the exact same song, you guys all have the same playlist. Now, some of you are going to place some thumbs down on certain items,
yep.
and some people, and you guys will probably all be different. So, or maybe the same. Now, it depends on how the algorithm is set up. Whether it's, say, okay, well, the majority of the people don't like this song, so we're going to pull it out of the list.
But you might like that song, though.
Or
but everyone else hates it. But you might love that song, but it won't be on the playlist because it's not based upon what you like. As much as you want to say the algorithm's not based on you, it's actually based on everybody else.
But then again, it depends how it's set up. It could be set up where, under your account, that particular playlist, you don't like this.
Yeah.
There again, it depends on how it's set up.
Well,
but yeah, it's basically,
I have a theory
I
have a theory about that because I think the way the playlists are set up, there's some there's corporations that are involved in how those are put together. And using that Drake example we used from that podcast, whatever, a few weeks ago, how it just shows up everywhere in everyone's playlist. It doesn't matter what you like or don't like. We need to sell that Drake album. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, so maybe the algorithm actually works totally fine, but again, the human factor jumped in and said, yeah, but we need to sell some Drake albums. We need to get the number of spins, up. We need to get that number up. Well, this person doesn't like it. Well, don't listen to what he's saying. Don't look at his thumbs down. Well, let's just put it back in that playlist anyway.
Well, yeah.
That's my theory.
So if it's the fourth song in, you start listening to it, you hit thumbs down, it's already started playing. So does it count that as an actual thing? And they go, oh, well, his thing is number one. Well, of course, you've stuck it in every freaking playlist to make it number one. But
see, I don't think big business wants algorithms like that. Like, they want the automation process, but only if it works in their factor. But algorithms could work really well in the consumer's factor, but they wouldn't want that. They never want that. Like, I don't think an artist like Ariana Grande would be anywhere near as popular as she is if it wasn't for, payola and those sorts of things. She's a pretty okay artist, but she's not the top of the heap in terms of talent and songwriting and all this stuff. But in terms of, the marketing machine behind her, they're fabricating her success. Wow, that's deep.
Okay, I don't follow her, but okay, I mean, I've heard the name, and I'm sure I've
she's
heard
fucking
her
huge.
songs, but
yeah, she's huge. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and this isn't a personal assessment of the lady herself, but she's incredibly bland. Like, it's incredibly vanilla. Like, there's no flavor to what she does. It's just kind of meh.
Yeah. What's her hook? What's her shtick? Like,
there's no hook. She
what
sounds
separates
like
her from everyone else.
Yeah, she sounds like this person, this person, this person, and this person. Well, I can already go listen to those people. So you haven't created anything new or anything like Brian Johnson from AC/DC. There's no one that sounds like him.
Right.
That's his hook. He's got his hook. You know? Like, even I think, like, even like Christina Aguilera, like, I don't think, like, she kind of got lumped in with Britney Spears and all, all those people. But she does sound unique. Her voice is, like, she don't sound like all these other, Pop-Tarts that are out there. She actually, I'm not a fan of that kind of music, but I can recognize she has something different and unique.
She's got soul in her bones, like the way when she sings.
Yep.
It's like it just grabs you. I mean, that to me is a star.
Yeah, she is an actual artist. Yeah, she is an actual artist. She believes in her music. She's not manufactured. You can tell. They tried to manufacture her, but I think her, she always came out. Same thing like that Kelly Clarkson. Like, she is a manufactured pop star. True, like, by definition. But that's not how she sings. And she's always, rebelled against her handlers and all that sort of stuff. Saying, no, but I want to do this. But I want to do this. Well, we don't think it's a good idea. We should write all your songs for you. No, but I'm a songwriter. Yeah, but you shouldn't write your own songs. No, it's not going to meet the algorithm that we're trying to meet. See, I'm circling back. It's not going to meet the algorithm that we need it to meet. We're going to write the song, make sure it hits all the quadrants, make sure that the third line of the first verse fits exactly with the algorithm that we're looking for to sell records.
Well, maybe, or either that or the producer's got a little boys club going or a men's club going with the writers and whatnot, and everybody wants to make a buck, and they're all friends, and they all want to make money together. Here's some songs, here, this is what you can be singing. Maybe.
Yeah. Like the whole Beyonce thing, like, you look at, one of her songs, and it's, the writers on one of her songs, like 16 people wrote the song. And you're like, what? Why did 16 people write the song? And maybe in those credits, Beyonce her name might be in there.
Right.
So, but everyone talks about how the greatness of Beyonce, but I'm like, really? I don't know. I admire songwriting over technical prowess any day.
Well, I think it's their presence too. Like they're very like if they were in the room, all the attention would be pretty much on them. I think it's just their personality.
Yeah. Well, she does have that.
That does that. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'll see her in the news more than I'll see her singing. So, I mean, she'll be like
wow,
whether it's on Ellen or it's on like Beyonce.
There. You said a lot there. That is so true. Wow. I never really thought of it that way, but that's entirely true.
What part?
Well, the part that you know more about her and you know nothing about her music. She's always in the news for everything other than her music. And people talking about how great she is. But it's rarely seeing how great she is. I've read more articles on her or seen more clips of her without actually seeing her sing or perform.
I mean, it's the same as the Kardashians. They try, if you make yourself relevant all the time, if you're in the news, if something happens bad, everyone sees. I mean, it's all about being out there. Because they say, like they said, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Once there's publicity, I mean, now you're in the limelight. So basically, you're getting your 15 minutes of fame or whatever. But like the Kardashians do, it's like they're doing it constantly. They're always trying to find a hook, a shtick, or something going on, or whether there's something going on in the family, whether it's leaked or whether it's not. I mean, the only reason why anybody is ever relevant is because they're out. The media portrays them in that fashion. If we didn't have TV, if we didn't have radio, if we didn't have anything, we would not know who the hell these people are. Yeah. The only reason we know who they are is because they're in the news.
Well, yeah, and is that fabricated? Are they looking at, okay, what does society want to, like, what will society focus on? Like, it seems so fabricated, like an algorithm. See, I'm trying to circle back again. Even though we're going off topic, I'm trying to circle back. It's almost like...
It's like the hook. It's going to hook you back in. Right.
But it's almost like, okay, does the Kim Kardashian or whoever, like, do they have all the aspects that's required to get people to watch and pay attention? Like, even if it's like you said, good publicity, bad publicity, it doesn't matter. It's all publicity. So it's like, even if you're watching a car crash, you can't look away, and it kind of feels like that with them. I still have no idea what she does for a living. She's famous for a living. That just boggles my mind. Yeah, I mean, it's like Seinfeld. It was a show about nothing, but they made it interesting. They made it what the people wanted to see. The people want to see drama. The people want to see, this one's cheating on this one, or this one's having a baby, or this one's going to be a fashion model. This is going to be in a show. And it's all, whether it's that one or the Housewives of Kentucky, or all these different shows that are on all these reality spin-offs, because that's what makes money. As soon as something makes money, someone does a spin-off on it. Yep.
It's no different whether it's a zombie movie. I mean, the zombie movie, made billions of dollars. Okay, let's focus on zombie movies. Now let's focus on vampire movies for the next 5 years. Let's focus on Star Wars. It's whatever sells that people are going to, they're going to see.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Oh, I just stopped my car.
Oh, okay.
My car's noisy, dude.
And I think I may have said this before, but I mean, with TV, that's how people live. They live through the TV because that's what they watch probably most of their lives, right?
Yeah.
Whatever goes on in the world, that's the way the world should be. It's got nothing to do with values as much anymore because those seem to have gone out the window when it comes to TV. Back in the Cleaver days or whatnot, I mean, people were different. Like, if you look at the people back in the day, say 20, 30 years ago versus now, do you find people's personalities and the way that they live their lives are different?
Yeah. I mean, from 30 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, just the way, I think just the way families in general, raise their families. I don't know, I might be right off the mark, but I'm just saying the way that, I mean, you used to have a thing on TV that was at FCC rules, or they couldn't swear, or they couldn't show nudity, or they couldn't do this or that, right? Yep. There was always a censor, right? Yep. And as time went on, they just kind of dwindled, and now, everything is getting more and more risque because everyone's trying to outdo everyone just to get the ratings, right?
True.
And I don't know if they've just softened the criteria, or it's been the pressure of the networks, if it's a money thing that, but that's, I've gone off topic again. Anyway.
Okay, circle it back. How do we circle back?